But when the morrowtide was come, all the princes of priests and the elder men of the people took counsel against Jesus, that they should take him to the death. And they led him bound and betook him to Pilate of Pontii, justice. Then Judas that betrayed him saw that he was condemned. He repented and brought again the 30 pieces to the princes of priests and to the elder men of the people, and said, I have sinned, betraying rightful blood. And said, They said, what to us? Busy thee. And when he had cast forth the silver in the temple, he passed forth and went and hanged himself with a snare. And the princes of priests took the silver and said, it is not lawful to put it into the treasury, for it is the price of blood. And when they had taken counsel, they bought with it a field of potter into burying of pilgrims. Therefore that field is called Akeldama, that is, a field of blood, into this day. Then that was fulfilled that was said by the prophet Jeremy, saying, and they have taken 30 pieces of silver, the price of a man appraised, whom they appraised of the children of Israel. And they gave them into a field of a potter, as the Lord hath ordained to me. And Jesus stood before the doomsman, and the justice asked him and said, art thou king of the Jews? Jesus saith to him, thou sayest. And when he had accused of the princes of the priests and of the elder men of the people, he answered nothing. Then Pilate saith to him, hearest thou not how many things they say against thee? And he answered not to him any word, so that the justice wondered greatly. But for a solemn day the justice was wont to deliver to the people one bound, whom they would. And he had then a famous man bound, that was said, Barabbas. Therefore Pilate said to them, when they were together, whom will ye that I deliver to you, whether Barabbas or Jesus, that is said Christ? For he knew that by envy they betrayed him. And while he sat for doomsman, his wife sent to him and said, nothing to thee and to that just man, for I have suffered this day many things for him by a vision. For so the princes of priests and the elder men counseled the people that they should ask Barabbas, but they should destroy Jesus. But the justice answered and said to them, whom of the twain will ye that be delivered to you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, what then shall I do of Jesus, that is said Christ? All they say, be he crucified. The justice saith to them, what evil hath he done? And they cried more and said, be he crucified. And Pilate, seeing that he profited nothing, but that the more noise was made, he took water and washed his hands before the people, and said, I am guiltless of the blood of this rightful man. Busy you. And all the people answered and said, his blood be on us and on our children. Then he delivered to them Barabbas, but he took to them Jesus scourged to be crucified. The knights of the justice took Jesus in the moot hall, and gathered to him all the company of knights. And they unclothed him, and did about him a red mantle. And they folded a crown of thorns, and put on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they kneeled before him, and scorned him, and said, Hail, King of the Jews! And they spat on him, and they spat on him, and took a reed, and smote his head. And after that they had scorned him, they unclothed him of the mantle, and they clothed him with his clothes, and led him to crucify him. And as they went out, they found a man of Cyrene, coming from the town, Simon by name. They constrained him to take his cross, and they came into a place that is called Golgotha, that is, the place of Calvary. And they gave him to drink wine meddled or mingled with gall. And when he had tasted, he would not drink. And after that they had crucified him, they parted his clothes and cast lots, to fulfill that is said by the prophet, saying, they parted to them my clothes, and on my cloth they cast lots. And they sat and kept him, and set above his head his cause, written, This is Jesus of Nazareth, King of Jews. Then 2 thieves were crucified with him, one on the right half, and one on the left half. And men that passed forth blasphemed him, moving their heads, and saying, Vath to thee, that destroyest the temple of God, and in the third day buildest it again. Save thou thyself, if thou art the Son of God. Come down of the cross. Also, and princes of priests scorning with scribes and elder men said, He made other men safe. He may not make himself safe. If he is King of Israel, come now he down from the cross, and we believe to him. He trusted in God, deliver he him now, if he will, for he said that I am God's son. And the thieves that were crucified with him upbraided him of the same thing. But from the 6th hour, darknesses were made on all the earth, till to the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a great voice and said, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, that is, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And some men stood there, and hearing said, This calleth Elijah. And anon, one of them running, filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it on a reed, and gave to him to drink. But others said, Suffer thou, see we whether Elijah come to deliver him. Forsooth, Jesus again cried with a great voice, and gave up the ghost. And lo, the veil of the temple was rent in 2 parts, from the highest to the lowest. And the earth shook, and the stones were cloven, and burials were opened, and many bodies of saints that had slept rose up. And they went out of their burials, and after his resurrection, they came into the holy city, and appeared to many. And the centurion, and they that were with him, keeping Jesus, when they saw the earth shaking, and those things that were done, they dreaded greatly, and said, Verily this was God's Son. And there was many women afar, that pursued Jesus from Galilee, and ministered to him, among which was Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James and of Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's sons. But when the evening was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea, Joseph by name, and he was a disciple of Jesus. And he went to Pilate, and asked the body of Jesus. And Pilate commanded the body to be given. When the body was taken, Joseph wrapped it in a clean sendal, and laid it in his new burial that he had hewn in stone, and he wallowed a great stone to the door of the burial, and went away. But Mary Magdalene and another Mary were there, sitting against the sepulchre. And on the t'other day, that is after the Pascheven, the princes of priests and Pharisees came together to Pilate, and said, Sir, we have mind that beguiler said yet living, After 3 days I shall rise again to life. Therefore command thou that the sepulchre be kept into the 3rd day, lest his disciples come and steal him, and say to the people, He hath risen from death, and the last errors shall be worse than the former. Pilate said to them, Ye have the keeping, go ye, keep ye as ye can. And they went forth and kept the sepulchre, making the stone with keepers.